Hey everyone, it's Michele Bellisari with Real Broker. I am super excited that Nicole Loughlin from Loughlin Law was able to jump on today because we are going to talk about a few interesting things regarding probate, ladybird deeds, and trusts here in Florida. Now, we're both in South Florida in the Boca Raton area, so we are always dealing with different aspects of probate. I'm on the real estate side. Nicole is a fabulous attorney. So it's always great for me to be able to say, hey, I've got a great attorney for you to talk to. I'm not an attorney, so there's certain things I cannot discuss or, try to educate on. Better that you speak with her. On the real estate side, I can real estate all day long. So, hi, Nicole. I'm so glad that you were able to squeeze me in today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Michelle.
All right, so here's some things that are coming up. It is, as of this recording, season here. So it's early January. We have a lot of scenarios that sometimes get put off because of end of year. And so at the beginning of the year, we have houses and condos that need to be listed because someone unfortunately passed away. And one of the things that's coming up, and I wanted to talk to you specifically about this first, is when is a good time to have a ladybird deed with a property.
So, a Ladybird deed is a wonderful tool for people to maintain ownership and control over their property while leaving the property to their loved ones at the time of their passing. And it's a seamless transition of ownership. It bypasses probate. It gives the remainder beneficiaries a step up in basis. They're not accruing capital gains from the date they were put on this deed to the date that they sell it. The step up in basis gives them the date of death as the basis. So they're great tools for that. But they're not a perfect solution for every scenario, right? They work wonderful for people who maybe have one piece of property and they have no minor children. Maybe we have a retired couple or a retired person and they want to leave the property to their adult children. And everybody's, on the same page and everybody's healthy. And that's a great tool, and maybe an alternative to doing a trust. But there's restrictions on what you can do with your homestead property in Florida, right? The Florida legislature says you cannot just do whatever you want with homestead property. We have certain protections for homestead property, and with those protections come some restrictions. And so if you are a young family with minor kids, a ladybird deed really is not an option for you. If you are an investor and you own multiple pieces of real property in your name alone, I don't think a ladybird deed on each and every one of those properties is the right tool. There are other better options. Maybe it's through a trust, but maybe if they want more like liability protection because of the nature of their business, maybe they would have an LLC, multi-member LLC scenario, maybe coupled with a trust. So that's, not
Yeah.
great for everybody, but perfect for, some limited circumstances and probably the circumstances that you encounter, right? We have people living here in South Florida. We're in season. They're in a 55 plus community. They have the one condo or whatever their property is, and they just want to make sure it goes to their kids. Ladybird deed is great. I could talk about the pitfalls that we see in that scenario.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do
want me to?
it. Yeah. The
So,
good, the bad, the ugly, those are the questions I get. And then I think the other thing is because it is a difficult time, uh, many times a lot of times I'm dealing with adult children, they can't wrap their heads around doing something proactive because it really solidifies what's truly happening.
so ultimately, it's going to be the person who owns the property who's making this decision, right?
Right.
And we know that people are going to have their family members helping, and that's why it's great to have a comprehensive estate plan in place so that you have thoughtfully chosen who your decision makers are if you're not able to make decisions for yourself. But if you have capacity, you own the property, it's your choice what you do with it. The pitfalls that I see or I have seen are when you have, and let's say we're staying in the 55 plus community, there's a lot of chatter among the residents that, hey, we added our kids to the deed. And that just generally saying that, not we did a deed to trust, not we did a ladybird deed, but we want to make sure that our kids get the property at our death and we don't want them to have any problems. So if you're not speaking to a professional and you just hear we're adding our kids to our deed, you could easily go down to the property appraiser, get a quick claim deed form, fill it out, add your kids to the deed, and then what happens? A lot of bad things. Number one, you lose control over your property because you've given away some of your present interest in the property. Number two, you've made a substantial gift that you're going to have to report. Number three, you have potentially lost all or part of your homestead exemption. Number four, you may have just triggered a property tax reassessment. And then lastly, there may be others. So it's not, this isn't the entire list, but just
Yeah.
things that come to mind. But lastly, you may not be avoiding probate 100% because you're still retaining. Let's see, if it's you and you add one of your children and there's no rights of survivorship, now if something happens to you, your child has 50% and the other 50% has to go through probate. And we see these fractional
Mm-hmm.
interest going through probate all the time. And then one other issue I forgot to mention. So like I said, it's a long list. The other
Yeah.
issue is when you add somebody to your title presently, not at death, transfer, the capital gains taxes start accruing from the date they were added to the title. So if you go on to live and they stay on title, and then let's say 20 years from now you pass away, they owe capital gains for that entire 20 years that they were on the deed. Whereas if they were a remainder beneficiary on a ladybird deed, again, they get that step up in basis, it's the date of death.
So here's another thing I was thinking about too, because divorce is also at an all-time high. You add one of your kids, let's say, for example, to the deed, and say that adult child goes through a divorce. That could be an issue potentially, I would think. Maybe, maybe not.
Are we talking about the scenario where we did the bad thing and we added our kid to the title as
Yeah.
a present owner? Right.
Yes.
That's another, pitfall in doing
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
that now becomes part of their asset, right? Like
Yeah.
that's part of their if they're compiling a financial
Yes.
affidavit, that's
Yeah.
an asset for them, whatever fractional interest that
Yeah.
they may have, right? And that's also an issue for creditors and things
Yeah.
like that. So,
Okay.
yeah. So the Ladybird deed, while it is again not a perfect solution for every scenario, when it can be used, it does eliminate a lot of these other pitfalls that we're talking
Yeah.
about. And as does putting it into a trust.
Yeah.
Anything that's titled to a trust is going to avoid probate. It's a privately managed, so there's no court oversight, and so again, it could be a very seamless transition of ownership.
So one other thing, I have run into this, thankfully not too often, but now with interest rates starting to come down a little bit, somebody who may have purchased in the last few years where it was a little bit higher, they take the property out of the trust to refinance, but forget to put it back in the trust. That happened to me one time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a comprehensive plan, you should hopefully have a safety net, right? Like
Yes.
a pour over will that will capture these assets that were left out and make
Yes.
sure that they end up going through trust. But that's not a perfect solution either because your goal is to hopefully avoid, any external process. And so it's important to make sure your trust is funded. I tell people to, I send out when I do an estate plan, my existing clients or past clients will get a check-in from me every year to say, "Hey, have you done any of these things in the past year?" And if you say yes, maybe we should chat. right? And that's not like a legacy plan it's a paid plan that if you want to
Yeah,
chat with me in the future, you have to, subscribe or anything like that. That's just an offer to make sure that the clients that I've worked with are maintaining that plan and that plan is still in alignment with their life wishes.
I love that. So you've got some different scenarios that come up as I do. And I always want to make sure that we are providing good information and also segueing uh, people to the right resources. And you are a great resource here in South Florida, but all of Florida. And so if you have any questions, for Nicole, you can certainly reach out to her. Her information is going to be in the description. My information is going to be in the description. I specialize in probate and inherited properties and have since 2012 and have some designations and things like that, including the SRES, which is for the senior real estate specialist. So I work with seniors and probate frequently, and I went through this with my own parents at a much younger age, unfortunately, and it was a little eye-opening at that time. And so we didn't have the same kind of professionals around us like a Nicole, who's really very, very well versed with this. And this is what she does all day long. So I appreciate you jumping on. We're going to have Nicole back because I have a list of topics here that I want to talk about, including what happens when there are unknown heirs, because that comes up. What happens when there is no will? That comes up. What happens if you have a snarky sister who doesn't agree with anything that you're doing and you are a trustee or you are the personal representative? We're going to talk about that too. So stay tuned for some other interviews in the Inside Florida Probate channel here. I think you guys are going to enjoy it and learn something from it too. So thank you, Nicole. Do you want to share your
And
phone number and your website?
sure.
Okay.
Sure. Phone number is 561-921-5751. And the website is, and on my social at LoughlinLawPA.com. LOUGHLINLAWPA.com.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been awesome. Exactly what I wanted to like get across today. And I am going to see you guys very, very soon on the next video. So stay tuned and I'm going to shut this off. Have a great day, guys.